The sudden imposition of sweeping tariffs by former President Donald Trump marks a drastic and destabilizing rupture from decades of global economic consensus. As of Saturday, U.S. customs agents began collecting a flat 10% tariff on a wide range of imports from dozens of countries, a baseline action that signals not just a change in trade policy, but a dismantling of the very foundation of the post-World War II economic order. The magnitude of this decision cannot be overstated. It is not just a trade maneuver, it is an aggressive reshaping of global commerce that threatens to trigger deep economic disruptions across multiple sectors and nations. The financial markets responded swiftly and brutally. In just 2 days following Trump's announcement, the U.S. stock market shed $5 trillion in value, an historic collapse reflecting the sheer shock and uncertainty generated by this policy shift. Commodity markets reeled, oil prices dropped, and investors fled equities in favor of the relative safety of government bonds. This isn't the reaction of a resilient economy adjusting to new rules. It's the reaction of a global system in crisis, unsure of whether the basic structures of trade and cooperation are still in place. While some countries may attempt to negotiate lower rates over time, there is no guarantee of successful outcomes or even clear pathways for negotiation. The blunt instrument of tariffs, especially imposed unilaterally and without broad consensus, ignites retaliation, not reform. Already, allies and rivals alike, including Australia, the UK, Egypt, and Argentina, are being hit with the new duties. These countries were not adversaries. They were trade partners and, in many cases, strategic allies. Now, with no warning and no grace period for many cargoes, they're being treated as threats to American economic interests. This sends a chilling message to the world. No trade relationship with the U.S. is secure. More worrying still are the higher, reciprocal tariffs set to take effect next week. These escalate U.S. trade tensions with China to a dangerous new level. With a 34% increase on Chinese imports, total tariffs will reach 54%, a level that borders on economic warfare. Vietnam, once seen as a safer alternative to China for U.S. supply chains, is now being hit with a staggering 46% tariff. This signals that the U.S. is no longer selectively targeting economic rivals, but rather imposing a broad-based punitive system that disrupts global supply chains regardless of strategic logic. Exemptions for products like oil, pharmaceuticals, and semiconductors, many of which are vital to U.S. infrastructure and national security, only highlight the arbitrary and contradictory nature of the policy. On one hand, the Trump administration claims national security concerns are driving tariffs. On the other hand, it carves out entire sectors from the duties, while simultaneously threatening further investigations into those very same sectors. This inconsistency breeds confusion in the markets and leaves businesses uncertain of how to plan for the future. Even longtime partners like Canada and Mexico are left navigating a labyrinth of overlapping tariff regimes. While exempt from the latest duties, they remain subject to earlier 25% tariffs under the guise of the U.S. fentanyl crisis, another example of economic policy being weaponized for political messaging rather than strategic consistency. The rules are changing rapidly, often arbitrarily, and that uncertainty is poison to economic confidence. The broader implication is a dangerous erosion of trust in the U.S. as a reliable trade partner. By abandoning the system of mutually agreed tariff rates and embracing a transactional, nationalist approach to trade, Trump has pulled the U.S. out of the global cooperative framework that has underpinned economic growth and stability for more than 75 years. This is not a negotiation tactic, it is an ideological shift. And the consequences are already beginning to unfold. The global economy is an interconnected web, and pulling one thread can unravel the entire system. Trump's tariffs may aim to create leverage, but they are more likely to cause rupture. With financial markets destabilized, international relationships fraying, and businesses facing unpredictable costs, this is not a recalibration. It is a self-inflicted economic wound. The costs are already high, and they are poised to climb even higher unless this trajectory is reversed. What we are witnessing is not just a trade dispute, it is a global economic risk event, triggered not by foreign aggression, but by unilateral U.S. policy. And it may be only the beginning.